Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, growing calls for the Senate to act on the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. The Health Department sounding the alarm on rising HIV cases in the country. Infections are said to have surged by 500%. Controversial director Darryl Yap pleads not guilty in the cyber libel complaint filed by actor TV host Vic Sotto. And the acclaimed Aurora Restaurant expands to Ortigas. Thanks for joining us. We begin at the Senate, where protesters are urging lawmakers to proceed with the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. To recall, the chamber was supposed to convene as an impeachment court today, but that was delayed by Senate President Cheese Escudero. Hannah T joins us live from there for more on this story. Hannah, were the protesters allowed inside the Senate premises?
Mai, they weren't actually allowed inside, so they held a short program outside the Senate premises demanding that the Senate should finally act on the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Some protesters from Bayan Muna were seen banging on the gates, shouting to convict VP Sara now. They denounced the delay, saying it's been months since the House transmitted the articles of impeachment back in February. They argue that conviction can only happen once the Senate convenes as an impeachment court. It was originally scheduled today, June 3, per Senate President Cheese Escudero's earlier proposal, but that was moved to June 11, the last session day of the 19th Congress. Escudero says the delay is to prioritize 12 urgent bills and confirmation hearings for cabinet officials, but that move has drawn criticism. In an ex-post, former Akbayan representative and vice presidential spokesperson Barry Gutierrez called the delay a flagrant violation of the Constitution. He stressed that holding the trial is not optional and that the Senate is constitutionally required to act once the articles are transmitted. This comes amid reports that Escudero is allegedly leading a group of 11 senators dubbed Escudero 11, accused of plotting to bury the impeachment to secure Duterte bloc's support for his Senate presidency. Escudero has already denied this, saying the delay has nothing to do with politics. An exchange also spilled into session yesterday. Senate Majority Leader Francis Tolentino warned that if the trial does not begin within this Congress, it's functionally dismissed. Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel also questioned why the complaint has not even been included in the Senate's reference of business.
Kung i-reference of business, why are we not doing it today? Anong damage kung gawin natin today?
Following U.S. practice and precedent, the Secretary thought it best that it will be included in the agenda on that day because there is no referral to the Committee on Rules. But again, we will look into it and we will take the suggestion of the gentleman in light of the points he raised in connection with that.
Pimentel also argued that impeachment as a non-legislative function should not be affected by the transition to the 20th Congress. As of now, June 11 remains the target date, but that can still be blocked by a floor motion in the plenary. And if no action is taken, the next Congress will have to decide whether to start from scratch. Mai?
Hannah, kamusta dyan? Any official reaction to the protests taking place?
Mai, so far wala pang reaksyon ng mga senador dun sa nangyaring protest. Pero this morning is filled with confirmation hearings. Katunayan, nauna nang humarap sa CAC, DOTR Secretary Vince Dizon. And in our latest monitoring, 2 CA members have already expressed their support for his appointment. And actually, Senator Bongo was supposed to lead a hearing on PhilHealth's fund transfer to the Treasury and also other health-related matters, but instead he attended the confirmation hearing. And next in line are DICT Secretary-designate Henry Aguda and lastly, PCO Secretary Jay Ruiz. And the Senate caucus originally set for 12 noon today was canceled, but right now the hearing room is packed with senators. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Hannah T, reporting to us live from the Senate. The Senate approved 6 bills as they seek to hasten the passing of priority measures before they adjourn on June 13. Among the bills passed, a measure that allows the MTRCB to regulate streaming platforms. Also approved Senate Bill 890, which empowers the president to streamline the executive branch through a 5-year right-sizing program. The Senate also gave its nod to the Free Funeral Services Act, revised Animal Welfare Act, the expanded Philippine Science High School System Act, and the Lifelong Learning Development Framework Act. In other news, AirAsia Move clarifies its alleged excessive pricing of plane tickets. In a statement, the online booking platform says the discrepancies in fare displays were caused by temporary data synchronization issues with a third-party provider. It adds the issue also affected other booking platforms. AirAsia Move notes they have taken immediate action and will further enhance safeguards to prevent any future recurrence. The Transportation Department has said an economic sabotage case will be filed against the agency this week. AirAsia Move is accused of raising prices to take advantage of transport challenges caused by the partial closure of the Juaniko Bridge, which links the islands of Samar and Leyte. Tacloban City Mayor Alfred Romualdez calls for full transparency and expert evaluation on the planned rehabilitation of the San Juanico Bridge. In a video message posted on Facebook, the mayor asked if a study was conducted to determine the current state of the structure. He hopes details of this study will be revealed to prevent speculation and allegations of corruption. The Tacloban City Council already declared a state of emergency due to the partial closure of the bridge.
Ako po to be quite frank, medyo nalilito din ako. Because I feel that the public should be given all the information pertaining to the condition of the bridge. Sino bang gumawa ng study na to? At bakit bigla-bigla na lang binigyan kami ng 48 hours para isara itong tulay na to? Dahil dyan ay maraming spekulasyon tuloy na there is something going on that hindi ka nais-nais, like corruption. I feel it is the duty of the national government to inform the public and tell them exactly who made the study, what the study says exactly, anong extent ng damage, at gaano katagal nila gagawin talaga itong tulay na to.
The Health Department sounding the alarm on rising HIV cases in the country. Secretary Ted Herbosa now wants it declared a national public health emergency. He says infections have surged by 500% for individuals aged 15 to 25. Some 57 cases were recorded per day from January to March, making the Philippines the highest in the Western Pacific region in terms of new infections. The DOH urges the public to take an HIV test, stressing that it is free and confidential. Immigration operatives arrest 39 Chinese nationals at a major telecom office in BGC. The Immigration Bureau says the foreigners failed to present valid travel documents and held work visas backed by a different company. That constitutes a breach of their visa conditions. The BI says the raid was conducted after weeks of surveillance and intelligence gathering. Last month, columnist Ramon Tulfo alleged Dito telecommunity owned by billionario Dennis Uy employs 400 Chinese nationals without proper working visas. Going back to our top story, several groups at the House of Representatives are also urging the Senate to proceed with the impeachment trial of VP Sara Duterte. Let's get updates from Zandro Ochona live from the Batasang Pambansa. Zandro, who are these groups?
Mai, a broad coalition of leaders behind the first three impeachment complaints are urging the Senate to proceed with the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte. 204 have signed the statement. 22 of them are religious leaders, including bishops and other clergy members from various denominations. 34 are from the academic and professors from various institutions, alongside 55 student leaders from universities and student councils across the country. The call to immediately proceed with the impeachment trial emphasizes the people's collective call for the Senate to fulfill its constitutional impeachment proceedings without delay, and that any attempt to scuttle the trial will be met with strong opposition, their statement said. In his opening statement, Bayan President Renato Reyes said all they are hearing from the Senate are palusot, far from the Senate's mandate provided by the Constitution. Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel insists no more dribbling and the impeachment should start now. Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas said any delays will be met with backlash from the people and that they are ready to hold rallies, sign petitions, among others, to prod the Senate to do their job. And right now, we are joined by Bayan Muna Chairperson Nery Colmenares. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sam.
Sir, I have a few questions, and it seems that with the pronouncement from the Senate, President Cheese Escudero and other senators, is the impeachment against VP Sara dead?
Well, we disagree with the definition of the majority leader that it's dismissed. In fact, I don't think that the Senate has the power to dismiss an impeachment case. They have first to hold trial. Very premature naman yung presentation ng Senate Majority Leader. The Constitution says that you must have a trial that will proceed forthwith. Not only that, the Constitution does not give the Senate the option to decide whether or not to convene an impeachment court or to dismiss a case without even convening the impeachment court. That nowhere in the Constitution is that found. In fact, the Constitution says you are the sole authority, you have the sole power to decide on an impeachment case. So they don't have the power to decide whether or not to have an impeachment trial. So, yeah, it's not dead. It just needs the senators' political will to fulfill their constitutional mandate. But can you imagine that? It's a constitutional mandate from the Constitution itself, but parang nagdidili-dali sila, and then they're even saying na it's dismissed when they have no authority to dismiss an impeachment case.
And it seems that we're on a deadlock. The House wants the impeachment process to continue, but it appears that the Senate does not want to sit as an impeachment court. Is one of our options to go to the Supreme Court right now?
Well, it's not on a deadlock if we look at the will of the people as supreme. The Supreme Court, of course, will be a venue. Mostly it will be the Dutertes, and I think they will go to the Supreme Court as they have done already. But as of now, we're asking the Senate to convene the impeachment trial and the impeachment court.
And if the Senate does not convene into impeachment?
Oh, and that's the time that probably we will consider that. If they do that on June 11. I'm saying that they don't have that power to decide on June 11 whether or not to convene an impeachment court. That's not something that's up for the discretion of the plenary. The statement of the senators kahapon is the plenary of the Senate is supreme. No, it's not supreme. It's the Constitution that is supreme. So I really hope that they will push through with the convening of an impeachment court and hold trial forthwith.
All right, that's Nery Colmenares, Bayan Muna Chairperson. So again, Mai, it's a wait-and-see situation on what will happen on the impeachment trial. Mai?
Indeed it is. Thank you, Zandro Ochona, live from the Batasang Pambansa. And thank you as well to Representative Nery Colmenares. The suspect in the firebomb attack on a pro-Israel rally in Boulder, Colorado, charged with federal hate crime. That's on top of other charges, including attempted murder. U.S. President Trump says the suspect, Mohammed Sabri Soliman, will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. The incident, described as an anti-Semitic terror attack, left 8 people hurt.
Mr. Solomon stated that he had been planning this attack for a year. And he acted because he hated what he called the Zionist group. But what the charges allege that he did was to throw Molotov cocktails at a group of men and women, some of them in their late 80s, burning them as they peacefully walked on a Sunday to draw attention to Israeli hostages held in Gaza.
The attack in Colorado comes weeks after a man fatally shot 2 Israeli embassy staff in Washington, D.C. South Koreans trooped to polling places to elect a new president. The elections pit liberal frontrunner Lee Jae-myung against the conservative Kim Moon-soo, both pledging change for the country after months of political chaos triggered by former President Yoon Suk-yeol's failed martial law declaration. Turnout is expected to be high, with voting open from 6 a.m. to 8 in the evening. Over to Italy, where Europe's largest active volcano erupts. Mount Etna spewed large plumes of ash and smoke, forcing tourists to hurry downhill to flee the volcano. Authorities say the huge cloud took place after a portion of Etna's southeastern crater likely collapsed. The eruption, though, has not affected the operations of a nearby airport. Local officials also assured the public the situation is under control. Some 1.5 million people visit the popular volcano every year. We're taking a break. Still to come, controversial director Darryl Yap pleads not guilty to cyber libel. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns.
Context is everything, and in today's economy, you need more than just the numbers. Infrastructure spending is expected to dip this April. Catch Business 360 for a full hour of straightforward coverage on Philippine markets, policy, and the people behind the headlines. U.S. President Donald Trump says he will not play hardball with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Let's connect the dots, spark conversations that move markets, and drive the change we want to see together. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join me on Business 360 for insights you can act on, signals you can trust, and all the news you need to navigate, adapt, and lead in a changing economic environment.
Join Mikey Oreta on Business 360, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mai Rodriguez, Trade Talks, Mai Milyonaryo, 11 a.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Controversial director Darryl Yap faces the Muntinlupa court for his arraignment in the cyber libel case filed against him by actor Vic Sotto. That's in connection with Yap's upcoming film about the late actress Pepsi Paloma. Paulo Barcelon joins us from Muntinlupa City for the details. Paulo, go ahead.
Mai, Yap pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of cyber libel filed against him by Sotto. Yap's counsel, attorney Raymond Fortun, said that today's arraignment and pre-trial focused on Yap's plea, as well as preparing for the pieces of evidence that will be used for the trial. Fortun says there's still no word from Yap if the film will be released to the public.
The film had been finished a long time ago. Now, obviously, merong mga certain procedural requirements para ito ay matuloy. And sa kasalukuyan ay wala akong alam tungkol whether or not natupad nga itong mga requirements na to.
Meanwhile, Sotto's counsel, attorney Enrique de la Cruz, says that he will consult with Sotto if the former will be open to settling the complaint with Yap. But de la Cruz says he was initially ordered by Sotto to bring the case to a trial. De la Cruz adds Sotto will attend the August 19th hearing.
Kailangan na kasi siya na yung mauupo bilang testigo.
Muntinlupa prosecutors earlier accused Yap of violating Articles 353 and 355 of the revised penal code in relation to Section 4 of Republic Act 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act. Yap earlier posted a 20,000 pesos bail on both charges, while Sotto is seeking for 35 million pesos worth of damages from Yap. Mai?
Thank you, Paulo Barcelon, reporting from Muntinlupa City. In the U.S., Blake Lively is reportedly willing to drop emotional distress claims against her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni. That's after Baldoni's team requested for her medical records, but the actress supposedly refused to hand them over. A Variety report says Lively is now considering dropping her complaint without prejudice, meaning she could refile them later. In response, Baldoni's camp is asking a judge to either compel Lively to return over the records or dismiss her claims for good. The fight is part of a broader legal war stemming from Lively's allegations of harassment on the set of the movie. In the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs, his former personal aide returned to the stand to testify. The witness, who was given the pseudonym Mia, said she was brainwashed by the embattled hip-hop mogul, preventing her from coming forward earlier. Mia previously testified that Combs raped her at least twice. Among those who attended Monday's hearing were Combs' mother and son, actor Justin Dior. Combs' lawyers have admitted he was at times abusive in his relationships, but they claim the women who take part in his drug-fueled sex parties did so consensually. In sports, Novak Djokovic joins an exclusive club at the French Open. The 24-time Grand Slam champ defeated Britain's Cameron Norrie, 25th Grand Slam title.
I don't know. I mean, it was one of the best, and maybe not the best in terms of how I was striking the ball. I think I played solid. I think I cannot, I always expect myself to play better, but I think, considering the opponent's form as well and the last 16 round and the occasion, I think it was a very good match. I mean, from my side, a very solid performance. Straight set win again, so I'm pleased with the way things are going, and obviously the matches only get tougher, so I look forward to the next challenge.
Italy's Yannick Sinner also producing another masterclass at the French Open. The world number one beat Andrei Rublev in straight sets, stretching his winning streak and Grand Slam play to 18 finals. And before we go, a new chapter begins for the Aurora Restaurant. After 2 years of serving delights in Makati, the dining concept expands to the Podium Mall in Ortigas Center with Bistro Aurora. The new resto offers Aurora's signature Asian-inspired dishes as well as new flavors exclusive to the Ortigas menu. The Aurora Restaurant is owned by Divina Law founder attorney Nilo Divina. It was named Tatler Dining's Best New Restaurant last year. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel. Good afternoon.